everyone, this is Larry with Today I Feel Like. I recently got the iPad mini 7th generation, and I think Apple missed the mark on this one by not releasing an iPad mini Pro with the Pro module and with a better chip inside like the M4, M3 or something like that. But this iPad can still make for a great content creation device, especially if you're shooting in a studio situation like this. You just need to make sure you have the right settings and the right app, and then you can go ahead and create some really nice looking content. And because it's created on the iPad, you don't even have to worry about transferring anything in or having a separate hard drive or SSD plugged into it. You can just edit straight from your device. But first, let me show you the app that you're going to need to really get the most out of the camera on here, and then let me show you how to set it up so that you can get good video. All right, let's jump into it. Here we go. All right, first things first, jump into your app store so that you can go get the app. And we're gonna go ahead and just search for the Blackmagic Camera App right there. That's the one that we want. This is it here. And it is a free app. It's by Blackmagic Camera Design, and it is an absolutely free app. Now, there are other apps that you can use to get more manual control over your camera. Like you can use the Final Cut camera app, but it's made for the iPhone and not really for the iPad. And so there's some formatting issues on there. I would recommend the Blackmagic Camera app because it's going to work the best and have more controls than the Final Cut Pro camera app. Now, once you have the app downloaded, make sure that you go ahead and open it up. And from inside the app here, we're going to make sure we have all of our settings set up for how we are going to shoot and for our lighting scenario. So I like to shoot at 24 frames a second. I like my shutter speed at 1/48 of a second because it's best to have your shutter speed at twice your frame rate. I'm also going to go ahead and change my ISO, and I'm going to change this to 160 here and get that there. And I want my white balance is there at 56K. That's because my lights in here are color balanced for 56K, and so that's where I want them. So that's where I want the white balance set at. So now, right here where it says tint, I'm gonna leave that at 0. I'm gonna leave it at 4K where it's there. And over here where it says lens at 28, that's all I can really do, except unless I wanna switch it to the front-facing camera there. So I'm gonna leave it at 28 there. And then over here where it says autofocus, I'm going to leave it on auto because that's where I want it. Exposure compensation, I'm going to leave that where it is. Now you can actually turn this off. You can turn off the stabilization if you want, because we're going to actually go ahead and leave leave this on a tripod. So we're not going to need to worry about stabilization because a tripod is going to stabilize it for us. And that's pretty much it inside the app. Everything is going to be set, except for some reason my shutter went back over to 1/30. We want to go back over to 1/48. Let me hit the lock there and see if that helps lock it in. There we go. So now we have it locked in. So, and then my ISO, same thing. I'm going to go back over here, go to 160 here. And it doesn't seem like there's a lock on there. So hopefully that locks it in there and keeps it just the way it is. All right. Now, we just need to go ahead and make sure that we have a mount big enough to accommodate a tablet, and let me show you where you can go ahead and get that. All right, here we are, and this is the mount right here. And you can see this one here is made by Ulanzi, and it will work with both your iPhones and your iPads. So you can go ahead and check that out. It will expand all the way up so that you can use it with iPad minis or all the way up to the iPad Pro Max or the iPad Pros, excuse me. So, but it is very, very sturdy and nice, and I love the fact that it has a microphone mount on top or a cold shoe mount so you can mount a microphone on there. And yeah, all right, that's kind of it. Let's go ahead and get this iPad mini mounted up and test out some video. All right, I am on the iPad mini now, and this is what it looks like. So I'm using the Blackmagic Camera app, and I have all of my settings set the way that I think is going to work best here for my my studio. And yeah, I mean, so far it seems like it might be okay and look all right. Now, I do have to say there is one thing. I did re-record this clip because the first time I recorded it, my audio wasn't working for some reason. I don't know why, but it was recording with the camera, the microphones from the built-in microphones from the iPad instead of the wireless mic that I have hooked up, which is my Hollyland Lark M2. I don't know why. And unfortunately, because you don't have some sort of other way of monitoring, you can't actually go and see a preview from your watch or something like you can do if you shoot with an iPhone, or you can't actually see the screen or anything. You're just kind of like hoping you get it right, and you don't know until after you've already shot it. So there's that. But this is it. This is the iPad mini 7th generation. I'm using the Blackmagic Camera App. You can use the standard camera app. I just wouldn't recommend it because you don't have any real manual controls if you're trying to shoot in the studio like we're doing here. This is the iPad mini 7th generation, and you can do it. You can use this device as a studio camera. So if you're someone who wants to start off as a content creator and the only device you really have is an iPad, well, you can use this camera. You just make sure you get the Blackmagic Camera App because that is going to give you manual controls over the camera on your iPad. And you're gonna need lots of light because the iPad minis have very, very small sensors, but it does have a 1.8 aperture lens on there, so it's going to let in a lot of light relative to the size of that sensor there. So you should be able to get a good image if you have, I have a lot of light in here. So I would recommend making sure you have some nice bright bulbs or some really good lights if you're gonna be using the iPad mini as your studio camera. And maybe you don't use it as your main studio camera. Maybe you use it as, for B-roll, or maybe you use it as a second camera if you're shooting a second angle or a top down or whatever. It definitely can be used, and I would definitely try it out if you have one or you're thinking about getting one. This may be a consideration for it. So yeah. Anyways, there are some downsides. There are definitely some downsides, like you can't monitor your audio or your video when you're doing this, because with the iPhone, for instance, you can go ahead and preview and start and stop with the Apple Watch because it has that remote camera app. You don't have that with the iPad, unfortunately. So yeah, but you can hook up an external microphone, which I'm using right now. I have the Hollyland Lark M2, so there is that. And yeah, there you go. Anyways, I'm going to leave links to this iPad down below in the video description so that you can check it out if you're interested. I'm also going to leave links to my Amazon page, my social media contacts so you can reach me elsewhere. And I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram. And I am Larry with Today I Feel Like. Thanks for coming back to see me. Come back and see me soon. And until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Peace.